All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, happy to be talking to an individual with a big fight going at MFL 19 that is transpiring on July the 24th. We've got the vacant MFL Featherweight Championship on the line in the evening's co-feature. Olivier Poisson and Alex Gluzman getting out there and testing skills and welcoming Alex on the show for the very first time. How's your day going so far in general, man?
Not bad.
Yeah, glad to hear you're doing well. It seems like you're very locked in for this fight here. I saw the social media post about you fighting absolute monster, just how you love challenges. Like, what were your thoughts when the matchup was initially kind of like put your way there and you realized this was going to be the next opponent you're testing skills against?
You know what? I was actually thinking about this. I knew I was actually gonna fight him at one point, and in my head, I was like, when I asked the promoter if I can get on the show, I knew, I had a feeling I was gonna get a title shot, and I knew I was gonna fight Olivier.
So just a guy you've had on the radar for a little bit then. They just seem like an inevitable match.
I've scouted him for sure, but I kind of in my head, I kind of what if he gives me Olivier, right? That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a stellar matchup. Both of you guys have the spotless records up until this juncture, so a well-matched title fight. What are your, thoughts on Olivier's skill set and just what he brings to the table and just has showcased as a fighter so far?
I haven't seen much, really, but he seems strong, but he's not special, you know?
So yeah, the strength, like one of the bigger variables in that one there. I wanted to talk about the training preparations for this one though, just, getting work at, Joslin's MMA there and stuff like that. Is that still the primary base of operations there out in the Hamilton area for you?
You know what? In Hamilton right now, everything is how the pandemic is. It's closed down, right?
Yeah.
So I really, really had to get people to train with me. It's really hard to get a training session in now, but I managed to do just that. A pandemic is not going to stop me from pursuing my dreams. It's silly at this point.
So just a matter of just almost personalizing a camp for yourself, like getting in work with martial artists where and when you can, not necessarily so much of
I get I train with a lot of my teammates from Joslin. I train striking with one group, right? I'll train jiu-jitsu with another group. Mainly though, I have one training partner, but a lot of I've been really moving left and right to get a training session going.
Yeah, you mentioned having the one main partner that you train with there. Who is that individual for this camp?
My one training partner, Kevin Medeiros, actually, he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. He knows he's really tough. He helped me a lot in this fight. He helped me a lot for this upcoming fight.
Yeah, and you're also someone who has that blue belt kind of distinction as well. And I was seeing some of the older Instagram pictures where you were, receiving that belt ranking there. What does a moment like that feel like? I imagine it's a pretty euphoric moment, the hard work being actualized into a moment.
Right. Yeah, it's, you kind of, yes, true. But you kind of, at the time though, I was a white belt for 2 years at the time, right? I kind of was I saw that coming, to be honest. But for sure, though, it was the moment was finally, I'm here. Finally, it's the bigger leagues. That was definitely a special moment for sure, though.
Yeah, and I imagine just like the medaling that you've done at various tournaments like Next Gen Jiu-Jitsu Championships, Ottawa Open, Ontario Open, No-Gi. I imagine that medaling in a lot of those events does a lot to, bolster the confidence too, just maybe in a similar way to, or maybe even beyond the belt ranking, just in the sense of you're having the measurable competitive success there. So can you talk about the experience in some of the No-Gi and Gi championships as far as like bolstering the confidence in your Jiu-Jitsu game for MMA?
Funny, actually, when I first started MMA, when I first came to Jeff at the very beginning, I didn't know jiu-jitsu. I didn't even know striking, right? I come from a taekwondo background. So what happened is, off the bat, I asked Jeff, can you give me a fight? And that's what I have to do. I'll do it. And I didn't when I first won my first gold medal. I was like, holy fuck! It's actually it really did a lot for my confidence. And the more I kept winning, the more I felt like, oh my god, like you feel invincible in these kind of moments.
Yeah, and you mentioned just like coming from a taekwondo background and certain things like that, and then kind of refining certain things in like a more, I guess, kickboxing oriented kind of framework. I was noticing you have the 4-2 K1 record in the Instagram bio there. So just can you talk about that kind of growth pattern there? Because you're saying like, oh yeah, more so a taekwondo background, like not as much oriented to the kickboxing. Like, was there a similar, I guess, compounded sense of your confidence growing as you had all of those, K1 rules kickboxing bouts there?
With kickboxing, I was at first I was trying to be an MMA fighter, like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, right? I was juggling these two. And then, at the time, I think it was 2017, the government in Ontario banned all these physical sports, right? Yeah. But they allowed kickboxing. So that's why I kind of got into it, because if I can't do MMA, at least I can strike. And after winning my first fight, right, obviously I have losses on my record, but both those losses, realistically, they shouldn't be on there. I'm better than that. It happens, though. I learned.
Yeah, for sure. The growth is what it's all about, man. No doubt. But in some of your past fights there, I was noticing that Amro Al Falastini is a pretty important fixture in the corner. Is he still going to be cornering you for this one, or maybe certain pandemic hurdles making that a bit difficult?
How do I answer that? Amro was a big part in my corner. He was I'm not gonna lie, he was a big part, but we got in a little bit of a disagreement. So I'll see how that works out. But hopefully we can solve that disagreement. But that's all it was, just a little disagreement. But as far as I know, the guy I mentioned, Kevin, he will be cornering me.
Yeah, fair enough. And I admittedly didn't know about that situation there, so sorry. I'm not trying to create any stir in the pot kind of dynamic or anything like that. Just noticing it from the past posts more so there.
For sure, though, Amber was a big part he was a big part in my growth. He was a big part in my mentality. When you watch Amber fight, I try to be a lot like him, actually. I'm not as aggressive, but I'm definitely, when Amber fights, he's very quick. And when we used to spar, right, I get my quickness from him, because when we sparred, I was actually, he hits like a truck too, right? And I was too scared to get hit by that. So I kind of like that's what kind of made me be a bit faster. That way I don't get hit.
Yeah, definitely some incentive to be defensively savvy when you got a heavy-handed lad coming at you, but just noticing that you haven't competed for a bit, just obviously the pandemic playing the predominant role in all of that. But the reason I bring it up is I'm curious, like, just how excited you are, just, chomping at the bit to get back out there and compete for the first time since November 2019.
I was actually supposed to fight 3 times last year. All of them got canceled, one of which obviously was my fault. But it's been a while. I'm gonna be nervous, right? That's what happens. But like, I'm just so excited. It's like I can't wait until I get to show my skills again. Honestly, I'm just like sitting here like I just want to get this done.
Yeah, definitely understand that dynamic there for sure there, man. But I was noticing Halloween 2019 there, you had the Instagram pic where you were dressed as Goku. Was like Dragon Ball Z a big motivating factor getting you into martial arts when you were younger, or more so just a fan of like that particular series kind of thing?
No, that was just a Halloween party. I grew up more on Pokemon. But Dragon Ball Z was like a small part of my childhood, but for me it was like Pokemon was the way to go.
Yeah, I mean that was such a great era for just like awesome anime and just cartoons and stuff like that, so really no bad choices out of that particular period in pop culture. But when I have fighters on the show, I generally ask if there's like particular genres of music or artists that they like to train to. But I've also talked to some fighters who are kind of like, whoever grabs the aux cord, I'm kind of fine with it one way or the other. Like, where do you stand in terms of like music while training there?
Honestly, it's the same thing for me. There's times when I shadow box to Tupac. Then there's like days when I'm like, okay, let's put Taylor Swift on. It doesn't matter for me. If it's got a good beat, I'm down. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good way to be. Pretty similar, I think. Just as long as it's a catchy song, you can kind of tap your foot to. I mean, that's pretty money, no doubt. But been great with your time, Alex, and I want to be, mindful of the rest of your schedule there. So is there anything you might want to add, sort of as a parting thought as we're wrapping things up here?
Tune into MFL. It's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a war.
It's a brilliant fight, and someone's O has got to go. We have 2 undefeated lads contending for that vacant MFL featherweight title. MFL 19 going July the 24th, and getting some great insights from one half of that main event, Alex Gluzman, as he takes on Olivier Poisson. And just to reiterate, thanks for coming on and giving me the time and the insights, man. Best of luck with the final stretch of the preparations, and also just have a good rest of your day too.
Thank you, guys.